Dedication and Foreword of Verses of a V.A.D. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit librivox.org. Verses of a V.A.D. by Vera Brittain. Read by Larry Wilson. Dedication. Dedicated to the memory of Roland Aubrey Leighton, Lieutenant, Worcestershire Regiment, died of wounds near Hebburn, December 23, 1915. Goodbye, sweet friend. What matters it that you have found love's death in joy, and I in sorrow? For hand in hand, just as we used to do, we two shall live our passionate poem through on God's serene tomorrow. R.A.L. Foreword. These poems by a writer for whom I have literary hopes belong very clearly to that new and vigorous type of poetry which has sprung from the stress of the last few years, and has its root in things done and suffered rather than in things merely imagined. Until lately, our very belief in the saying that the poet is born and not made proved that we had completely accepted poetry as coming only from within, spun as it were out of our inner consciousness, and either quite unhelped or else only partially helped by active experiences from without. We have always understood, of course, that such an experience as, for instance, the sudden flashing upon us of a magnetic face as a stranger passes in the street, might set aglow a train of thought that would quicken and melt into feeling, and the feeling would in turn need and find expression in poetry. So far as this, we have admitted that outward occurrences in the course of our quickly flying days can become a source of poetical inspiration. But in spite of the pointing finger of Kipling, most of us clung desperately to the verse that had its sole origin in imaginative emotion until the blaze of war in the world illumined our souls and showed all of us that our simplest practical work can be struck sparks of real and great and rare divine fire. All of the poems in this little book are the outcome of things very deeply felt. It is very difficult for me to write of them, because where there is pain uttered in them, it has almost always been my pain as well as the author's. One or two of the sonnets condense the expression of losses that have met a life's upheaval. One or two, again, are practically a concrete record of simple human things observed and suffered, and of duty strenuously done. Here there is no leisured dreaming, but sheer experience, solid and stored up, like the honey that a bee's labor has stored. But this practical quality, while it has so much that makes it rich and valuable, has also one conspicuous disadvantage, that the work is often done under conditions of strain and turmoil that tell against perfection of method. Some of these verses of a V.A.D. were written in almost breathless intervals of severe and devoted duty. The poem entitled The German Ward is especially an example of this. In such circumstances, it is difficult to achieve any literary ornamentation, and least of all that particular kind of simpleness which is the highest form of finished art. In the case of several of the poems, both these qualities have been achieved. Yet, because of the difficulties, I make an appeal for considerateness and tender sympathy in judging these first shy flowers of the heart and mind of a young girl who has worked unceasingly and self-forgettingly for the good of others since the days of stress began, and who in her personal destiny has suffered as I hope very few have suffered. Marie Connor Leighton. End of dedication and foreword.
August 1914 by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org. God said, "Men have forgotten me. The souls that sleep shall wake again, and blinded eyes must learn to see. So since redemption comes through pain, he smote the earth with chastening rod, and brought destruction's lurid rain. But where his desolation trod, the people in their agony despairing, cried, "There is no God." Somerville College, Oxford. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
St. Pancras Station, August 1915. By Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Larry Wilson. One long sweet kiss pressed close upon my lips, one moment's rest on your swift beating heart, and all was over, for the hour had come for us to part. A sudden forward motion of the train, the world grown dark although the sun still shone, one last blurred look through the aching tear-dimmed eyes, and you were gone. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To a Fallen Idol by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org. O you who sought to rend the stars from heaven, but rent instead your too ambitious heart, know that with those to whom love's joy is given, you have not, nor can ever have, a part. A nation's loyalty might have been your glory, and men have blessed your name from shore to shore, but you have set the seal upon your story, and must go hence, alone forevermore. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To Monseigneur by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Larry Wilson. R.A.L. Lieutenant Worcesters. None shall dispute your kingship, nor declare another could have held the place you hold. For though he brought me finer gifts than gold, and laid before my feet his heart made bare, of all but love for me, and sighed despair, if I but feigned my favours to withhold, and would repudiate as sadly cold the proud and lofty manner that you wear. He would not be my pure and stainless knight of heart without reproach or hint of fear, who walks unscathed amid war's sordid ways, by base desire or bloodshed's grim delight, but ever holds his hero's honour dear, Roland of Roncesvalles in modern days. First London General Hospital, November 1915. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Only Son by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Knight. The storm beats loud and you are far away. The night is wild, on distant fields of battle breaks the day, my little child. I sought to shield you from the least of ills in bygone years. I soothed with dreams of manhood's far-off hills your baby fears, but could not save you from the shock of strife. With radiant eyes you seized the sword, and in the path of life you sought your prize. The tempests rage, but you are fast asleep. Though winds be wild, they cannot break your endless slumbers deep, my little child. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Perhaps by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Larry Wilson. To R.A.L., died of wounds in France, December 23rd, 1915. Perhaps some day the sun will shine again, and I shall see that still skies are blue, and feel once more I do not live in vain, although bereft of you. Perhaps the golden meadows at my feet will make the sunny hours of spring seem gay, and I shall find the white May blossom sweet, though you have passed away. Perhaps the summer woods will shimmer bright, and crimson roses once again be fair, and autumn harvest fields a rich delight, although you are not there. Perhaps some day I shall not shrink in pain to see the passing of the dying year, and listen to Christmas songs again, although you cannot hear. But though kind time may many joys renew, there is one greatest joy I shall not know again, because my heart for loss of you was broken long ago. First London General Hospital, February 1916. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Military Hospital by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org. A mass of human wreckage, drifting inborne on a blood-red tide. Some nevermore to brave the stormy sea, laid reverently aside, and some with love restored to sail again for regions far and wide. First London General Hospital, 1916. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Looking Westward by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Princess Momo. For a while, the quiet body lies with feet toward the morn. Hymn 199 A and M. When I am dead, leave me not looking east, but towards the verge where daylight sinks to rest. For my beloved who fell in war's dark year lies in a foreign meadow facing west. He does not see the heavens flushed with dawn, a flaming through the sunset dying gleam. He is not dazzled by the morning star, but Hesper soothes him with her gentle beam. He faces not the guns he thrilled to hear, nor sees the skyline red with fires of hell. He looks forever towards that dear homeland he loved, but bade a resolute farewell. So would I, when my hour has come for sleep, lie watching where the twilight shades grow gray. Far sooner would I share with him the night, than pass without him to the splendid day. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Then and Now by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Larry Wilson. Pontere kai udena mene. Once the black pine trees on the mountainside, the river dancing down the valley blue, and strange brown grasses swaying with the tide, all spoke to me of you. But now, the sullen streamlet creeping slow, the moaning treetops dark above my head, the weeds where once the grasses used to grow, tell me that you are dead. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
May Morning by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Princess Momo. May morning. Note: at Oxford on May 1st, a Latin hymn is sung at sunrise by the Magdalen choristers from the top of the tower. The rising sun shone warmly on the tower. Into the clear, pure heaven the hymn aspired. Piercingly sweet, this was the morning hour when life awoke with spring's creative power. and the old city's gray to gold was fired. Silently reverent stood the noisy throng. Under the bridge, the boats in long array lay motionless. The chorister's far song faded upon the breeze in echoes long. Swiftly I left the bridge and rode away. Straight to a little wood's green heart I sped, where cowslips grew, beneath whose gold withdrawn the fragrant earth peeped warmly and richly red. All trace of winter's chilling touch had fled, and song-birds ushered in the year's bright morn. I had met love not many days before, and as in blissful mood I listening lay, none ever had of joy so full a store. I thought that spring must last for evermore, for I was young and loved, and it was May. Now it is May again, and sweetly clear, perhaps once more spies the Latin hymn from Magdalen Tower, but not for me to hear. I to a far distance, for a darker year, shadows the century with minutes grim. I walk in ways where pain and sorrow dwell, and ruin such as only war can bring, where each lives through his individual hell, fraught with remembered horror none can tell, and no more is there glory in the spring, and I am worn with tears, for he I loved lies cold beneath the stricken sod of France. Hope has forsaken me, by death removed, and love that seemed so strong and gay has proved a poor crushed thing, a toy of cruel chance. Often I wonder as I grieve in vain, if when the long, long future years creep slow, and war and tears alike have ceased to read, I ever shall recapture once again the mood of that May morning long ago. First London General Hospital, May 1916. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Two Travelers by Vera Brittain, read for librivox.org by Knight. Beware, you met two travelers in the town who promised you that they would take you down the valley far away to some strange carnival this summer's day. Take care, lest in the crowded street they hurry past you with forgetting feet and leave you standing there. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Roundel by Vera Brittain, read for librivox.org by mleigh. Died of wounds. Because you died, I shall not rest again, but wander ever through the lone world wide, seeking the shadow of a dream grown vain. Because you died, I shall spend brief and idle hours beside the many lesser loves that still remain, but find in none my triumph and my pride, and disillusion's slow corroding stain will creep upon each quest but newly tried, for every striving now shall nothing gain, because you died. France, February 1918. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Sisters Buried at Lemnos by Vera Brittain, read for librivox.org by Princess Momo. O golden owl, set in the deep blue ocean, with purple shadows flitting o'er thy crest, I kneel to thee in reverent devotion. Of some who on thy bosom lie at rest, seldom they enter into song or story. Poets praise the soldiers' might and deeds of war, but few exalt the sisters and the glory of women dead beneath a distant star. No armies threatened in that lonely station, They fought not fire or steel or ruthless foe, but heat and hunger, sickness and privation, and winter's deathly chill and blinding snow, till mortal frailty could endure no longer, disease's ravages and climate's power, and body weak but spirit ever strong. Courageously they stayed to meet their hour, no blazing tribute through the wide world flying, no rich reward of sacrifice they craved, the only meed of their victories dying, living in the hearts of humble men they save, who when in light the final dawn is breaking, still faithful through the world's regard may seize, will honor, splendid and triumphant, waking the souls of women, lonely here at peace. O golden isle, with purple shadows falling across thy rocky shore and sapphire sea, I shall not picture these without recalling the sisters sleeping on the heart of thee. HMHS, Britannic Madras, October 1916. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
In Memoriam, G.R.Y.T. by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Larry Wilson. Killed in action, April 23rd, 1917. I spoke with you but seldom, yet there lay some nameless glamour in your written word, and thoughts of you rose often, longing stirred by dear remembrance of the sad blue-gray that dwelt within your eyes, the even sway of your young godlike gait, the rarely heard but frank bright laughter, hallowed by a day that made of youth right's offering to the sword. So now I ponder, since your day is done, ere dawn was past, on all you meant to me, and all the more you might have come to be, and wonder if some state, beyond the sun and shadows here, may yet completion see of intimacy sweet, though scarce begun. Malta, May 1917. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
A Parting Word by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Knight. To a fortunate friend. If you should be too happy in your days and never know an hour of vain regret, do not forget that still the shadows darken all my ways. If sunshine sweeter still should light your years, and you lose naught of all you dearly prize, turn not your eyes from my steep track of anguish and of tears. And if perhaps your love of me is less than I with all my need of you would choose, do not refuse to love enough to lighten my distress. And if the future days should parting see of our so different paths that lately met, remember yet those days of storm you weathered through with me. Malta, May 1917. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To My Brother by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by mleigh. In memory of July 1st, 1916. Your battle wounds are scars upon my heart, received when in that grand and tragic show you played your part 2 years ago. And silver in the summer morning sun, I see the symbol of your courage glow, that cross you won 2 years ago. Though now again you watch the shrapnel fly, and hear the guns that daily louder grow, as in July 2 years ago. May you endure to lead the last advance, and with your men pursue the flying foe, as once in France 2 years ago. Footnote: Captain E. H. Brittain, M.C., written 4 days before his death in action in the Austrian offensive on the Italian front, June 15, 1918. End of footnote. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Sick Transit by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org. V.R. died of wounds. 2nd London General Hospital, Chelsea, June 9th, 1917. I am so tired. The dying sun incarnadines the west, and every window with its gold is fired, and all I loved the best is gone, and every good that I desired passes away. An idle, hopeless quest. Even the highest whereto I aspired has vanished with the rest. I am so tired. London, June 1917. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
To Them by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by mleigh. I hear your voices in the whispering trees. I see your footprints on each grassy track. Your laughter echoes gaily down the breeze, but you will not come back. The twilight skies are tender with your smile. The stars look down with eyes for which I yearn. I dream that you are with me all the while, but you will not return. The flowers are gay in gardens that you knew. The woods you loved are sweet with summer rain. The fields you trod are empty now, but you will never come again. June 1917. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
Oxford Revisited by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Avni Bhargav. Oxford Revisited. There's a gleam of sun on the grey old street where we used to walk in the Oxford days and dream that the world lay beneath our feet in the dawn of a summer morning. Now the years have passed, and it's we who lie crushed under the burden of worldwide woe, but the misty magic will never die from the dawn of an Oxford morning. And the end delays, and perhaps no more I shall see the spires of my youth's delight, but they'll gladden my eyes as in days of yore at the dawn of eternal morning. June 1917. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. That Which Remaineth by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Avni Bhargav. That Which Remaineth. In memory of Captain E. H. Brittain, M.C. Only the thought of a merry smile, the wistful dreaming of sad brown eyes, a brave young warrior face aglow with the light of a lofty enterprise. Only the hope of a gallant heart, the steady strife for a deathless crown, in memory's treasures, radiant now with the gleam of a goal beyond Rion. Only the tale of a dream fulfilled, a strenuous day and a well-fought fight, a fearless leader who laughed at death, and the fitting end of a gentle night. Only a cross on a mountain side, the close of a journey short and rough, a sword laid down and a stainless shield, no more, and yet is it not enough? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The German Ward by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Larry Wilson. Inter arma caritas. When the years of strife are over, and my recollection fades of the wards wherein I worked the weeks away, I shall still see, as a vision rising mid the wartime shades, the ward in France where German wounded lay. I shall see the pallid faces, and the half-suspicious eyes. I shall hear the bitter groans and labored breath, and recall the loud complaining and the weary, tedious cries, and sights and smells of blood and wounds and death. I shall see the convoy cases, blanket-covered on the floor, and watch the heavy stretcher work begin, and the gleam of knives and bottles through the open theatre door, and the operation patients carried in. I shall see the sister standing with her form of youthful grace, and the humor and the wisdom of her smile, and the tale of 3 years' warfare on her thin, expressive face, the weariness of many a toil-filled while. I shall think of how I worked for her with nerve and heart and mind, and marveled at her courage and her skill, and how the dying enemy her tenderness would find beneath her scornful energy of will. And I learnt that human mercy turns alike to friend or foe, when the darkest hour of all is creeping nigh, and those who slew our dearest, when their lamps were burning low, found help and pity ere they came to die. So, though much will be forgotten when the sound of war's alarms and the days of death and strife have passed away, I shall always see the vision of love, working amidst arms, in the ward wherein the wounded prisoners lay. France, September 1917. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain.
The Troop Train by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Bruce Kachuk. France, 1917. As we came down from Amiens, and they went up the line, they waved their careless hands to us, and cheered the Red Cross sign. And often I have wondered since, repicturing that train, how many of those laughing souls came down the line again. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. To My Ward Sister by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Bruce Kachuk. Night Duty, December 1917. Through the night watches of our house of sighs, in capable serenity of mind, you steadily achieve the tasks designed, with calm, half-smiling, interested eyes, though all unknowing, confidently wise. Concerning pain you never felt, you find content from uneventful years arise, as you toil on, mechanically kind. So thus far have your smooth days passed, but when the tempest non-escape shall cloud your sky, and life grow dark around you, through your pain you'll learn the meaning of your mercy then, to those who blessed you as you passed them by, nor seek to tread the untroubled road again. France. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. to Another Sister by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Bruce Kachuk. I knew that you had suffered many things, for I could see your eyes would often weep through bitter midnight hours when others sleep, and in your smile the lurking scorn that springs from cruel knowledge of a love once deep, grown gradually cold, until the stings pierce mercilessly of a past that clings undying to your lonely path and steep. So, loved and honored leader, I would pray that hidden future days may hold in store some solace for your yearning even yet, and in some joy to come you may forget the burdened toil you will not suffer more, and see the wartime shadows fade away. France, 1918. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. Vengeance is Mine by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Bruce Kachuk. In memory of the sisters who died in the great air raid upon hospitals at Etaples. Who shall avenge us for anguish unnameable? Rivers of scarlet and crosses of gray, terror of night-time and bloodlust untamable, hate without pity, where broken we lay. How could we help them in agony, calling us, those whom we labored to comfort and save? How still their moaning, whose hour was befalling us, crushed in a horror more dark than the grave, burning of canvas and smashing of wood above, havoc of mercy's toil shall he forget? Us that have fallen, who numbers in gracious love each tiny creature whose life is man's debt. Will he not hear us, though speech is now failing us, voices too feeble to utter a cry? Shall they not answer, the foemen assailing us, women who suffer and women who die? Who shall avenge us for anguish unnameable, rivers of scarlet and crosses of gray, terror of night-time and bloodlust untamable, hate without pity, where broken we lay? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. War by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Bruce Kachuk. The Great German Offensive, March to May, 1918. A night of storm and thunder crashing by, a bitter night of tempest and of rain, then calm at dawn beneath a wind-swept sky, and broken flowers that will not bloom again. An age of death and agony and tears, a cruel age of woe unguessed before, then peace to close the weary storm-wrecked years, and broken hearts that bleed for evermore. France. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Last Post by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Bruce Kachuk. The stars are shining bright above the camps. The bugle calls float skyward, faintly clear. Over the hill the mist-veiled motor lamps dwindle and disappear. The notes of day's goodbye arise and blend with the low murmurous hum from tree and sod, and swell into that question at the end they ask each night of God, whether the dead within the burial ground will ever overthrow their crosses gray, and rise triumphant from each lowly mound to greet the dawning day, whether the eyes which battle sealed in sleep will open to reveille once again, and forms once mangled into rapture leap, forgetful of their pain. But still the stars above the camp shine on, giving no answer for our sorrow's ease. And one more day with the last post has gone, dying upon the breeze. Etapla, 1918. End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. The Aspirant by Vera Brittain. Read for librivox.org by Brusca. A plea. Because I dare to stand outside the gate of that high temple wherein fame abides, and loudly knock, too eager to await whate'er betides. May God forgive, since He alone can see the joys that others have, but I must miss. For how shall compensation come to me, if not through this? End of poem. This recording is in the public domain. End of Verses of a VAD by Vera Brittain.